Now I'm just gonna say this to start. This is the best guitar I've ever played for $700. So what you're currently listening to is the Heritage H-535 from Heritage's new Ascent Plus collection. Now, besides their custom shop and standard models, they started with just the standard or regular Ascent collection, but now they added a plus line stacking on tons of new killer features to these guitars. And we're gonna go over all of them in this video. This guitar is under $700 and is their more affordable option that Heritage makes along with their other models, the H-137 and the H-150. Like I said, they started with custom shop and their standard models, and now they've created these more accessible guitars, but still with that heart of Heritage ingrained in them. I'll first go over just this guitar in particular, and then I'll be talking about the Ascent versus the Ascent Plus line, sort of compare the two. And I'll also sort of talk about the comparison of this guitar to their more standard line. I'll give you some sound demos, of course, and hopefully by the end of this video, you will know if this guitar is right for you. So let's dive in. So starting off, this is a semi-hollow guitar with a laminated figured curly maple top, back, and sides in a high gloss finish. It really is super resonant and loud, which is a good sign. It's got jumbo frets, which I love, a rosewood fretboard with a very comfy C-neck profile. As for its tonal diversity, we got a push-pull coil split that gives you both full-bodied humbucker tones and crisp and shiny single coil sounds as well. This guitar, honestly, is one of my favorite ES style guitars that I've played under a certain price point, primarily due to its sound and also feel, but I'll get into that more a little later. Now, other features include a 12-inch to 16-inch compound radius, a set neck joint, tunematic bridge, stop bar tailpiece, and a 3-ply black, white, black pickguard for that hint of vintage flair. Now, I will get into my honest and general thoughts about this guitar and also the differences between the other models. But first, I want to jump into all of its sounds so you can hear them. And I'll be running through the Milkman Sound, the Amp 50, and I'm going directly through my interface. Also, real quick, if you're digging this video in any way, please consider subscribing to help support my channel. Let's hear it rip. Now this guitar, the H-535, seems like it's new to the Ascent line. When I looked back at the other Ascent models, I didn't see the H-535 really anywhere. Now in the first Ascent line, it was the H-137 and the H-150, and that line seemed to be at the price point of between $300 to $400, I think. Now the Ascent Plus guitars range from $500 to $700. I will say much cooler finishes, and the build quality has to be better based on the specs that I've seen and other features that they added on compared to the first Ascent line. But it is hard to compare this guitar to the previous Ascent line because it just didn't exist. So if you want other body style options, whether it's the first Ascent line or the Ascent Plus, you still have the H-150, the H-137, so definitely go check them out if that's more of your thing. Now I'm just gonna say this to start. This is the best guitar I've ever played for $700. And I'll even say under $1,000. The build quality for the price is insane. The neck feels so comfortable and good. It really does feel like home to me. And the tone options with the split coil is just great. It's very resonant, like I said, and I've played tons of heritage guitars, primarily the standard models. Played a few custom shops as well. And although I do feel the difference between the standard and custom shop and the Ascent Plus line, as you sort of should, but the difference really isn't that far off. A lot of brands, when they make more affordable models, they normally never feel anything like their more expensive models. And that is just completely not true when it comes to heritage. You feel the craftsmanship and quality in their guitars that they make, no matter where they make them, no matter how they make them. And I've honestly have never said that about really any brand. Now clearly the build quality, or at least how they go about it, is different, as well as the hardware and the pickups compared to their standard model, which I think they run around 23 to 3K. Once you get above around 3K, that's when you sort of enter into the custom shop territory, and those are obviously just crafted in way much more detail. You know, when it comes to binding and all the electronics, hand wired, stuff like that. So who is this guitar for, and is it worth forking up the $700? Normally when I do this part of my guitar demos and review, especially on guitars that seem to be made more for beginner to intermediate, that's just exactly who I say it's for. But honestly, this can be for anyone who is just looking for a killer guitar under $1,000, $800, whatever. I'd even argue that it's for intermediates and above, because most beginner players sort of maybe want to spend a little less money just to make sure that they want to keep playing the guitar and it's something they're actually into before they start investing in more expensive models. But if you're a beginner and that's sort of in your budget realm, this is a great choice. Also, if you're looking for a different body style, you still have a couple of other options in the Ascent Plus line, so you can check them out. All that will be down in the description. Now, for me personally, I plan on using this for sessions and gigs. I've even used this for tons of jams. I haven't gigged with it yet, but I have done 1 or 2 sessions with it. These style guitars are very versatile. They play a lot of different genres really well: rock, blues, jazz, country, you name it. Now, I own Gibson custom shops. I own a vintage Les Paul, and they're amazing. They're great. My favorite guitars I own, for sure. But this thing, I gotta say, really does do its own thing really well, especially for the price. Now, something that sort of is better with more affordable guitars is that I really don't have to worry too much about dinging this up if something happens while being on stage, whereas sometimes when I'm playing the custom shop, I'm like always worried about who's near it, my belt buckle. I just get like that with more expensive models. So when you have something much more affordable, that sort of goes away. I mean, I still definitely take care of it and avoid those things, but you're not super just like uptight about it. I mean, that's me anyway. This guitar cleans up really nice, especially when you move to the single coil pickup position. It sounds great when overdriven, although sometimes the humbuckers can sound a little bit muddy. Now you can change that by dialing in your amp a little bit differently, or adding a little bit more drive to the pedals that you have and switching to the single coil position. But overall, just a killer sounding guitar. If you'd like to see this guitar go head to head with other heritage models, whether that be the standard or the custom shop, please let me know down in the comments and I'll try and make that happen. Also, just let me know your thoughts on this guitar and if there's anything else on the market that you would like to see me demo and review. I appreciate you as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.